So on this old brake assembly off a forklift truck, what I'm doing is I'm going to make a pulley tensioner with the aid of this thing here. So how it will work, just 1 second. Okay, when you press down on there, see there's a spring, and that allows me hand, gives it some nice tension here. So what's going to happen is I've got this piece of ground rod and a bearing, okay, and I'm going to put a weld where the ground rod meets that here, just this piece here. The black piece meets the silver piece. I'm going to put a weld in there, so that's held rigid, and then this here will go into that flange there. I'm going to weld the flange onto the bearing, and then that flange will bolt onto here, which I'll probably weld too, so the whole assembly will sit something like that, and when that turns, that'll keep the belt somewhat taut, which is what you need. Just thought I'd show you that. Yep, eventually the hole saw went through. Testament to hole saws, man, worked great. That's quite the block of steel here, and you get this thing here which could use as a weight at some other point. Alright, now all we've got to do is attach this pulley. Which one would it be? It doesn't matter really, does it? I think it's this one. No. Okay, we're going to attach this pulley to that, and the great thing is that the holes in the pulley match up with the holes there, so that was a stroke of luck. And then all I've got to do now is mount this bearing in here in the hole. There you go, fits perfectly. Look at that, as seen on TV. Okay, we'll get that all done, get it painted, and I'll come right back. And the next step was to get this bearing centered in the hole, which I did by using a guitar string and wrapped it around. Well, actually a few pieces of guitar string, but it's pretty centered now. The next thing is to put a plate or something over there to hold this in place, and do the same on the back. I was thinking about welding it, but I think if I did that, it might distort this wheel race and stop the bearing working properly, so I'm going to use some kind of plates over the front and back. But once I put that and mounted, there's nothing stopping this bearing falling out. So what I've did, I just made this piece of mild steel plate here, cut it out, shaped it, and what I'm going to do next is probably a hole there to mount it on, then run some weld around it, right, and then so that'll look good, and then turn it over and do the other side, which requires a bit more. It's a bit more involved because it's not level. See, this bearing race here is just level with the top, so it's easy just to put that on to stop anything moving around. Okay, now I'm doing a bit tapping a wall out here. Okay, that's good. And this is good. There you go. Old school light engineering is what I would call this. So what we got now, we've got this hub. I've made an end for it here. And we put the bearing in, put them in the bottom of the hole here, and then we use these guys as spacers. We'll put this in to bring it up to the level of this here. There we go. Got these spacers in here, and then I've just drilled a hole there, and we're going to put that in here to hold it all together. How difficult could that be? Here we've got all these spacers drilled out. I've drilled and tapped 2 holes there. So the next thing to do is to put this to the very bottom of the hole. Now then, these are larger than the hole, but I want something larger than this center race, so I drilled this out much larger so it fits like that, see. So it's not going to interfere with the turning. There's not going to be a friction thing happening, and then once you get past there, we'll just put this on, put this guy on, almost there, and then this. Okay. Now, from here, what I'll do is make sure that this is nice and clean, which it is, and I've got to fit this on like this correctly. Hopefully these are not the same. Good, they're not. Okay. And then you just take these little screws here, here and a twist there. This is the drill and tap that I used to drill holes in that hub there. And this is the second screw here. See how this guy works. So I'm just bolting this together loosely just so I can get this centered. And then when I do that, I'll take a black felt tip marker and cut the corners of this little flange here on the inside. So I've ground these areas down. Hopefully this should fit in here. Oh, and what do you know, it does. That's great. Excellent. So I'm just going to put this all together and then weld it and see what happens then. Actually, I've got to, this all has to be centered. This bearing has to be the center of this, i.e. concentric. That was right. So once that's concentric, then it can be welded, but not until then, I don't think. So I've got this assembled, and this has to be, you know, concentric with this. So what I'm going to do is stick it on the ground rod, which is actually going to be its home, and see if that'll tap on it a little bit, and then just turn it. So you can see here, when you turn this, see how it has high spots? That's a low spot. If you look at this part here in relationship to that, watch. The low spot, it's low there, it comes up high, so I'm going to have to tap on it and get it centered. Now it's all assembled, and I'm using this ground rod, which is going to be where that is going to be the shaft for it. So now this is assembled both sides. Now I can just drop some welding on it, and hopefully that should work. anyhow, as I was saying, that's the finished product, and I really enjoy welding. What a fun thing to do. I'm not good at it yet, but I still enjoy the process. So that should hold it, tidy it up, paint it, and call it good. Okay, so then you just knock off this clinker, so covering that the weld leaves on it. So this is how this is going to work. Apparently this is the the tensioner. This will go on there, and you just see this spring here is supposed to tension it, but the pulley's too heavy. I'm thinking about cutting off one of these pulley slider things here. Maybe I'll cut one of those off, make it a bit lighter, but I've also got a nice strong spring here I can put there and on there, which will also give it good rigidity and tensioning purpose. I can't touch this, it's still red hot, it's still really hot. So that's it there. It occurs to me that as I'm not going to be using this particular race here, I think I want to try and cut it off, so there's only those two left, and it'll be space saving and weight reduction. Give it a try. Well, that was a 3 battery job. I had to put 3 batteries on that one, but well worth waiting for. And it's funny, you know, I never even thought about taking this piece of pulley wheel off, and I'll just respray it, clean it up, and call it good. This plate will go under the floor of the motorhome, and these bolts will line up with this pulley. As it sits, it'll sit like that on the floor of the motorhome, and that plate will go underneath the floor. Of course, it's held in position by these nuts and bolts. So I'm going to give this I'll paint it black just so it makes it a bit more rust proof, because it's going to be outside. The pulley wheel and the support bracket for underneath the motorhome are now finished. So let's get this guy installed and put under these pulley belts, see how it works. Seems like it's working. That tension is working okay. Yeah, that tension is working okay. Now I'm just waiting for these meters to come, the voltage meters. Let's continue on and have a good day, and thanks for watching.